So I'm going to talk to you today about believing in yourself. This is something that is very important to my life because ever since I was younger, my father would always tell me, you can do anything that you set your mind to. And I never believed, I would just be like, okay, whatever. Like I could come home and I would be like, I want to be the next president of the United States. And I know nothing about politics. And he would be like, okay, go do it. Like anything you set your mind to. So this is important to me. When I first was researching this topic, the first image that came up was a picture of cars. And I was very confused. I was like, how does this have to do with anything? But then I was reading on, and it was talking about how when you grow up, usually your parents will drive you places, everything, like when you're on a highway, there's cars around you, everybody's driving. Usually that's how people get places. And you never really think about oh, I'm never going to be able to drive, I'm never going to be able to get behind a wheel. And after thinking about it, all of my friends have their license, and except for one, and that's only because she never got to even take her road test or practice. But usually after you fail your road test once or twice, you keep going, and you're very motivated to get your license so that you could go places. You see people not believing in themselves a lot around college campuses. I know even in myself, I'll be like, I'm gonna fail this test, I'm gonna fail out of college, all these things. But there's a difference between failing and being a failure. A lot of people think that failing means that you are a failure, but failing is only temporary, and it makes room for learning and growing. And it also shows how you are pushing your limits. So you could fail a test, but the next test you'll strive to get a higher score. But being a failure is a permanent mindset, and you don't really feel like changing anything. You're just giving up basically, and you don't really look for an opportunity to learn or grow. And failing is part of life. In order to succeed, you're gonna have to keep pushing forward from your failures. But if you don't do that, then you can fall into the category of being a failure. So this believing in myself actually happened to me when I got into high school. I played soccer from ever since I was 4 years old up until my senior year in high school. And when I was younger, I was 3 years younger than my sister, and they would sneak me onto her CYO soccer team because they wanted me to play for them. And I would enjoy that so much. I was never intimidated by them, and I just loved playing soccer itself. And then I got to high school, and I was at tryouts, and the girls were very intimidating, I felt like. So I kind of wanted to give up on playing soccer. And my parents kept pushing me. They're like, no, you could do it, you could do it. And the first tryout, the coach came up to me and my other friend. We were the 2 freshmen, and he asked us if we wanted to play on the varsity team. And I was looking at the varsity team, and I was like, I can't do this. They're very good, and all the girls seemed very intimidating. So I denied it at first. I was like, no, thank you. And then they asked us to play in as guests on their team for a tournament that they had coming up. So me and my friend played for them, and I wound up scoring the winning goal for that game. And then they gave us no choice. They said you have to play on the varsity team. It wasn't something that I was happy about, but after pushing myself and getting to know all the girls and putting myself out there, I wound up being the captain of the varsity team as well, so I wasn't as intimidated from those people anymore. But without pushing myself and knowing that I could do it, without the support from my parents and everything, I don't think I would have played soccer at all in high school. Believing in yourself means you have to be the person to do it. No, you can't base it off of other people. There will be people putting you down so often, but the only person that can truly like believe in you is you. And you have to realize that, because without that, when people put you down, you might quit, like I almost did. Also, confidence plays a major role in believing in yourself. A confident person has an open mind, gives compliments, operates in principles, admits to their mistakes. They're a positive thinker, risk taker, accepts others' differences, as well as their own, and keeps learning and growing, while as an insecure person is very close-minded, seeks validation, like they always have to ask others for approval of what they're doing. They only do what they feel is good. They never go out of their comfort zone. They usually blame others for their mistakes, and they're very negative thinkers. They're very judgmental too. Like usually the people that are judging you are insecure, and they can't make decisions, and they stay stuck in old ways and bad habits. So they never want an opportunity to grow or to change, and they'll just continue to be the person. This picture is an example. The girls behind them are probably the girls that are the most insecure, and this girl has her head down, and she's she probably was a confident girl before these girls came along, but this shows how she's like just putting her head down, like not standing up for herself. So she's not, she's losing her confidence from these people, and she's starting to not believe in herself. She should. Along with other research that I did, I found that the biggest difference between a successful person and a non-successful person is that a successful person believes in themselves the most, and they continually, like they always want to try and learn new things. They always want to step out of their comfort zone. While unsuccessful people stick to the things that they already know, and they don't want to go out there and learn other things. Another example with this is my friend Haley. She goes to the University of Pittsburgh, and in high school she was very, she didn't really believe in herself. She always put herself down before going into tests. She would always say, oh, like I'm gonna do terrible on this test. And she would come out and not get the highest grade. And then while she was taking the SAT, she really applied herself, and she was like, I think I'm gonna do good on this SAT. And she, like with a lot of like help from tutors and everything, like she pushed herself very hard, and she finally got the score that she wanted, and Pittsburgh was her dream school. And without pushing herself, she would have never achieved the grade that she wanted, and she wouldn't be at Pittsburgh. But now she's getting, she's only a freshman, and she's already getting like internships to go to Washington, D.C. to talk about a bunch of things, controversial things that are happening. So for this, she has to apply herself again, and she has to go forward out of her comfort zone, out of Pittsburgh, out of her hometown, and speak to new people that she's never seen or spoken to before. And she has to explain things that she has had to learn about. And if she wasn't as successful as she is, she wouldn't have thought that she knew it all. Like she even tells me, she's like, I don't know what I'm going to talk to them about, but I have to push myself as hard as I can to learn about these new things in order to teach them the right things. There's supposed to be a picture here, but another thing is we've all worked our hardest to get to where we are here today. If we didn't push ourselves in high school, we probably wouldn't have even gotten into the schools that we wanted to get into. I know myself, I didn't really try my hardest in school until junior year, And without pushing myself as hard as I did in junior year, I probably wouldn't even be in this school right now. So believing in yourself is a very important thing that we should all do. And without believing in yourself, you probably won't be able to achieve the things that you would like to achieve in